Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. This is a long-running series. We're over 50 episodes into this Let's Play series. It is April of 1944. The Allied invasion of the continent has largely been turned back. We went from the doorstep of Paris to the mountains in Spain, and it looks like we may be driven back further. The weather and supply situations are not playing out to our favor, and it's been very challenging to find hexes where we can deploy our headquarters and get adequate supply forward to our troops. I think we'll probably have to fall back, assuming we don't suffer too many more heavy casualties, back to a line along Barcelona, Zaragoza, and Bilbao, or however you pronounce that, up here on the northern coast. It's going to be less defensible terrain. It's going to be some river terrain potentially we could stack up in front of, but it's going to be better terrain in terms of drawing supplies. Also likely that the Germans would suffer supplies problems trying to pursue through that terrain. So that may be the route that we go. Otherwise, we may frankly just have to pull entirely off the continent, evacuate Spain and Portugal to the Axis powers, and pull our troops back to Great Britain and to North Africa and do our best job, hoping that they can't pursue us there and hang out there as long as we can while we try and win the war in the Pacific. That's because Russia's going to fall eventually. Probably not this next turn, I hope, but maybe in the next 2 to 3 turns. I feel like I keep saying that, but that's the situation here. We've got a large pocket of troops around Moscow itself, but the Germans are grinding us down, and as the spring rains disappear and we turn into good weather in the summer, the German Air Force will grind us down further. We have pocketed a few troops here in eastern Russia, but it's unlikely we'll be able to hold them this turn. While they have terrible supply situations out that way, so do we, and they just have so many more men than us, so it's probably not something we can hold that pocket. Meanwhile, in Japan, similar story. The Japanese army in China is just sort of grinding down the Chinese army there, and so it's not a great situation to be in. The supply situation for all those troops in that region is not good, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot we can do to sort of save our forces there. We're slowly getting pushed back, if you will, in China, and they're not far from an open breakthrough. The only thing that'll work in our favor is the terrain should hinder an invasion of India, at least for a time, and maybe we can rush some reinforcements there. This is all a lot of bad news. The one area of optimism, the one area where things are going okay, is in the Pacific Theater. We've landed in the Philippines, and we've begun wearing down the Japanese forces near Manila, although supply situations and challenges for our own forces are making that a very slow and inefficient process. We've taken Babelthorpe, Peleliu. We've bypassed Truk. We've taken Eniwetok, Kwajalein. We've bypassed Tarawa. And we have taken, Nauru. We've also bypassed the Solomons, but we still hold Moresby. In the Dutch East Indies, we've taken Timor. We've liberated the islands of Java and Sumatra. Singapore never fell. And we've taken the northwest coast near Kuching, and we are now advancing on Brunei in the Dutch East Indies as well. That, in theory, in a game where oil production matters, would probably spell the end for the Japanese, but this is a game where that's not quite measured in the same way. The Japanese Navy is all but gone. I think they have 3 warships right now. They've got a carrier that's badly damaged, the Taiho in port at Nagasaki. They have a submarine off the coast of Luzon, and I think they have one more submarine somewhere else in theater. We've just landed at Naha, so we should get that national morale objective as we hit the end turn button, so Okinawa will be ours. Iwo Jima has already fallen. Saipan and the Marianas have all been liberated as well. And that does sort of set us up potentially for an invasion of the home islands, although I'm not sure we have the actual strength to succeed there. We'll see. I'm also worried about counterattacks with kamikazes against the 1st Marine Division, which is on these transports. We do have a bunch of carriers around it that should hopefully provide it air cover, but we'll see how things turn out. And that's the situation in April of 1944. I'm going to go ahead and hit end turn, and it's going to bring us into May of 1944 as the year progresses there. We suffered some attrition damage. Japanese national morale is falling due to the loss of Okinawa. Greek partisans are still operating in Greece against the Germans, which is really just hindering their economic output of Greece. Japanese bombers are apparently hindering supply to Australia, which is less important unless it's having MPP impacts or income impacts, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Raiders are disrupting convoys to Britain out of both India and South Africa. The scientists in Great Britain are developing industrial technology. The USA is developing production technology level 4, so that's good for us. That should help. I think that helps our income, or it makes items cheaper. I'm not sure which, but that's going to be important because when Germany eventually knocks the USSR out of the war, they get like 2,000 points, economic points, like 3 or 4 full turns of U.S. economic output goes to Germany. Also, Italy's been knocked out of the war, but the Germans now occupy all of Italy, which means they get to capture all of that economic output. So in some sense, it made them weaker because they lost 20 to 30 units in one fell swoop. That really slowed them down in Russia. But on the flip side of that, it also meant that now they get all that income to superior German units compared to the Italians, which means that over time, I think that will trend in their favor. Looks like the weather is pretty clear over all of China. That's bad for us. Also, it looked like clear weather over Moscow. That could also be bad for us. The German Air Force is really where they have their biggest advantage. Actually, technology-wise, we're on par with their armored technology and their infantry technology. Oh, shit. Please don't attack me. Yeah, okay, their sub didn't do any damage to our transport there. Thank you. But where the Germans really have a huge advantage is in air power right now. Not necessarily entirely in technology. I think the U.S. Air Force is roughly equal in terms of technology, but they just have so much more of it than we do. We've had to focus largely on infantry and armor to try and hold our front lines, which means we haven't invested anywhere near enough in tactical air forces. You can see their Stukas are absolutely ravaging the line in front of Moscow. Their tactical and strategic bombers are doing a lot of damage. Their Stukas here are going after our mechanized force there. They nearly destroyed it there in Spain. That army there just south of Moscow just took serious damage from tactical air. The same's true also in China for the Japanese as well. Fighters trying to strafe our mechanized unit, and they just destroyed a mechanized unit of the Americans there in Spain, so that sucks. The other area that the enemy has a huge advantage in is in artillery, where they've got quite a bit. Also, the German V weapons seem to be doing quite a bit of damage against the British on Great Britain. You can see that they just took out 30% of the economic output of Portsmouth. And yeah, things aren't going great here. You can see that pocket has been opened up, although they haven't cleared that rail line entirely, so I'm hoping that the supply situation for those German units in what was that pocket stays desperate. They appear to be attacking south of Moscow and doing a lot of damage to that Russian army there, although they haven't destroyed it yet. They also just destroyed a Russian army west. Meanwhile, they're trying to get into our rear and take Perm, which is another alternate capital. So Moscow is the primary Soviet capital so far still, but once Moscow falls, the capital will fall to Kuybyshev. Kuybyshev has already fallen to the Germans, so then the capital would move to Perm, which is the last Soviet capital, and that has not yet fallen, although it's now under attack. Meanwhile, you can see those troops of ours that were trying to hold the pocket closed in eastern, central Russia, wherever that is, are in serious trouble. Likely they'll be completely out of supply and completely destroyed in the next turn or two. The Kulan Pass has been completely opened by the Japanese now, and that's going to just spell the doom for the Chinese there. The last Indian formation there to the west of Changsha was destroyed, minus the anti-aircraft unit, and the Chinese army at Langkao has now been destroyed, which means the Japanese can move into that alternative capital. Things are not good. This is a very bad turn so far. We'll have to see what it looks like, but and now they're moving 2 armored units north to Perm. Yeah, Utopia Rocker. The game is currently substantially discounted as part of the Steam summer sale right now. I still don't know how these Japanese troops in the north near Zhengya have any supply. Like, my Chinese troops have no supply up there, but the Japanese shouldn't have any supply for an army that has no link. Chinese morale suffers due to the fall of Langkao. We do get a free unit back at Umrichi, which is sort of the furthest west alternative capital for the Soviets. And that's the end of the Axis turn there. So we lost the 2nd Shock Army, the 14th Chinese Corps. The Soviets lost 1, 2, 3 corps, a mechanized unit, and a shock army. Moscow was also damaged from bombing. The U.S. lost a mechanized force. Maidstone, Norwich, and Portsmouth all damaged from V-weapon attacks. Chinese morale falls. So yeah, things not going so swimmingly so far. Don't really care about these intelligence reports. They don't really tell me anything that matters all that much. The Japanese have troops in Truk. Shocker, I already knew that. Germans have garrisons in Western Europe. That's good to know, but it doesn't matter because I have no way I can hurt them. Okay. All right, intelligence. You're doing real great. The Danish resistance sends news to SOE. The Danish resistance reports German naval movements in the Kattegat. Okay. Does that mean that there's like a German invasion preparing? Or just a German sub? Because I'm not too worried about a lone German sub. I guess we'll place someone here. He's probably going to die now that I move that destroyer out there. Alright, so... This German unit has supply. These... They're just better than us? Well, they've also got a tremendous amount of... They do have an experience advantage over us. Okay... Just gonna hit those guys with naval bombardment. Should hurt them a little bit. In terms of their morale, I would expect. Okay, their morale is 82. Readiness is 107, really. Alright, maybe we keep pulling back further into Spain. What's the supply situation going to look like? That'll be nice. That'll be an 8. But these guys' supply is still terrible. The problem is most of my British units are nowhere near their British headquarters. You know what I should do is, I can't get these guys out of here, but I don't have any South African troops over there that can really benefit from that headquarter. So what's the supply situation look like next turn with all these changes? It got worse! Well, now it's better. No, wait, no. No, it's going to be way worse with all these movements. Well, shit. Whoops. I mean, I hate to save scum. I should be able to load the auto turn at the end of that last turn. I wish it would tell me... I wish I could undo my headquarters movements more easily once I see what the supply situation is going to be. I think this is the first time I've really loaded a save to try and undo some of the changes I just made, but... Alright, so... Oh, great. Now we have to sit through all this intelligence again. Although it's different intelligence by the looks of it. Some of it, anyway. The battleship up there north of... in the far north of the Arctic, or wherever that is. Alright. Kind of want to go engage those battleships. That might give me a nice little national morale benefit. I don't really have a lot of battleships in this area that can engage them. I do have carriers, which should be nice. The weather up there is good, too, so I could use my carriers up there against them. Probably can't get up there in one fell swoop, though. It'd take a couple of turns. Also, it would leave the channel open. Okay, so I really don't want a 5 supply, or 4, really, for that matter. So I think what I'll do... Their morale got hit pretty hard, though, from those bombardments. I think what I'll do is... Let's reinforce this guy. That should help a little bit. Who's the current? This is Bradley. His rating's an 8. We'll upgrade to Patton, who's a 9. Oh, no, I don't want to spend 105 MPPs for that. That's nuts. Rating 5, rating 6. The British really need to upgrade their headquarters. Montgomery, that would be a substantial upgrade, but he's not even close to British forces, so let's upgrade this other guy. That's a lot of money for the British, who don't have a lot of money, but I'm going to do it, because I think a 3, that should be meaningful. Yeah, Johnny Carvin, you can buy it over on matrixgames.com or Slitherine.com, I think it is. You can buy it directly from the developers. It is not available on Steam, but you can buy War in the Pacific over at directly from the developers. It's expensive. Warning. It's very when you think about justifying how much money you're spending on the game, I think the best way to compare that game to anything else is like one of those really gigantic board games, because it is not inexpensive, should we say. All right, that should still give us it shouldn't really change the supply situation all that much. But it kind of does. Like, alright, so we'll move this guy here to get 7 for him. So why is this going to drop from 9 to 3? Oh, because it was a headquarters hex before. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just better off pulling everybody out to England. I really think that's where I'm going to have to start. Alright, we're going to slowly pull... I hate the idea of evacuating Spain. It has so much... I feel like it has a lot of economics. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I don't know what to do, but I feel like if I leave these troops forward, they're just asking to get destroyed. We'll reinforce these fighters here to help give us better cover. Same for these guys. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just kind of hold pat for another turn. I don't want to lose another unit, though, to enemy dive bombers or something like that. I'm completely stumped. You know what would be nice is if the Allied forces could shoot down the incoming V weapons. I guess for a V2 you probably couldn't, but a V, if they're supposed to be like V1s, you could. Alright. That's it for those guys for the moment. I'm spending too much British money this turn on reinforcements. Let's move this guy to Isfahan. Jeez, that's going to be a rough supply situation next turn for that. Good thing it's only a garrison unit. Meanwhile, China... Okay, so this is good, actually. So go ahead and attack this guy. 0 to 3. Shift him south. Destroy that Japanese army there. Should have waited to move this guy till that road was clear. Nonetheless, we just destroyed a Japanese army in front of Chungking. Good result for us there. Reinforce that army, move this headquarter unit in to Chungking. The problem here is now in the south, where we've got this this breakthrough, if you will. We have a couple of headquarters units that can delay the enemy, but nothing to stop them in the south. Still, they might drive west toward Kunming and then invade India. That would take, I think, 2 to 3 turns. Otherwise, another option for them is to swing north once they get to Quichao to go for Chungking, which is the capital, which I think is more likely. Oh, shit. This guy's going to be stuck. I can give elite reinforcements to this unit with my Chinese money. Maybe we shouldn't do that. What if we purchase new units with China? What can we get? So we can afford a new corps with China. That's what we'll do. We have 3 new Chinese corps coming between the next turn. Actually, they should be right now. And the next 2 turns. So we'll do that. Yep, we do have a new Chinese army that I can deploy. In that case, I'm going to move this British Indian headquarters unit back. And then I'm going to put my new Chinese unit here in Quichao along this key roadway west toward India, so that should be a nice delay blocking force. Hey Pixel, this war's not going well. Well, that's all I'll say about that, but that reinforcement's timely and nice. Alright, these guys... Alright, we'll move this guy north. He'll probably die to enemy air attack, but... Alright, we'll move him back to Guizhou. I still don't understand how this unit hasn't been attrited to death. Alright. Meanwhile, the troops on Okinawa... Oh, look, this is still Axis, huh? Right, we'll land the Marine Division here. Mainly because it needs to get ashore anyway, so it can replenish its strike potential. Then I'll go ahead and reinforce the troops that landed. So we've got 2 Marine Divisions on Okinawa, which is now in the Allied powers' control. Supply situation in the Philippines, not good. Alright, so if I move him north... Alright, so we'll do this. This should improve our supply situation a little bit. It does. We're going to continue bombarding the troops in Manila. I thought when you had a naval unit adjacent to a port, the port supply automatically went down every turn, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like I actually have to destroy it manually. Okay, this long-range transport's going to move here to Brunei. Apparently it won't hurt this guy, like, at all. Alright, so we'll prepare these paratroopers. So I think what I'll do is I'll hit with all of these transports next turn. So we'll hit 3 units here. I may need to bring some battleships south to bombard or something like that. Brunei is a capital and it's an income source for the Japanese, so that's sort of my thought process there. Keg Kicker, thanks for the follow. No Russian troops on the Manchurian front, no. Why can't I reinforce these guys? Not enough supply there? Okay, so this unit's going to pull back to San Josef to get its strike power back. We need all these guys to get their strikes back so we can land with some force. I'm going to assume the Japanese battleship has pulled back to Hiroshima. Apparently I was wrong. Maybe he fell back into China. Pull this battleship back here. Hit the port facilities here. Switch these guys over to naval mode since they don't need to cover the carrier anymore. Try and go after the Japanese sub, but it's going to just evade forever because that seems to be what they do. Which, I mean, I get it, they're subs, but they're only level 1 subs. They're not that good. I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of experience, but still. Oh, shit. Run away, battleship. Don't die. God damn it, nothing. They get a 0 to 1 every time, and the sub dives every time successfully. It's very frustrating. I can't do anything with my air. Like, this game way undervalues air power. In terms of naval air power, anyway. Like, those should be equal to land-based tactical air in my mind. Or at least half the strength of land-based tactical air. Where did their carrier go? Oh, here it is. We found the enemy carrier. Nice. Too bad I used up all my airstrikes. I mean, in theory, I could send one of my carriers, and I'm just worried it would get exposed to Japanese land-based air, and it wouldn't be. Also, we can't hit from there, so that's great. We should scout out. Nice! Well, we can at least hurt their air wings, so they shouldn't be able to hurt us all that much. Alright. So, we could potentially do some tactical amphibious strikes on, like, Shanghai, Tsingtao, Seoul. I think we would win in each one of those individual cases. It might also force the Japanese to pull their troops east away from China to save China. But the better strike might be to land in Japan. They've got 2 armies here south of Hiroshima. We could definitely overcome one of those on the initial landing, take the base, and then move north. And then once we've got armor ashore against them, I think we're in pretty decent shape. We'll have to see. We've got to wait at least another turn, I think, to get our supplies back for another landing. We also have this additional transport that I can send west from the west coast, another armor unit. So we'll have 2 armored units. Really need to upgrade this guy to 5. We did get level 5 tanks, so that should be nice. Okay. What's the supply situation going to look like next turn? 5, 6, 5, 5, 3, 4. Not great. You know, another alternative would be to bring in one of these long-range amphibious transports. to help with the attack there, because they'll start with level 10 supply, and they'll get a amphibious strike. They can get there in one move, though, so I can wait on that. I'm just racked by indecision right now. Okay, so that does it for the Pacific, I think. Let's zoom back out, make sure there's nothing I'm missing. Didn't we have a sub up here or something like that? No? Bring that extra Aussie unit forward. Move it up to Moresby first. Apparently when you load up on transports, you get full supply. Might even be better moving them into India to fight there. So the only thing we haven't really done yet this turn is the Russian front. So the good news is these German units basically have no supply. The bad news is my infantry, despite full supply, can't do anything against them. What the fuck? These guys literally have zero supply. Alright, at least my tactical air can hurt them. Because apparently there's no... Oh, there are German fighters. Never mind. Holy shit, we lost 70% of our force. I moved them north primarily to defend Perm because it is a headquarter for us. We can't really afford to lose it. Okay. I don't know where to put any of these guys. What's the supply situation going to look like next turn? Actually, that's not bad. Okay, put one new army near Perm. Put one new army near Chiblinsk. I'll put the Special Forces unit. I don't know if Moscow really makes the most sense right now. What's their supply situation look like? Are they going to be... Probably not. So let's put them north here. I wanted to put them in arc angles, but it doesn't look like I can deploy them there. Just because it's a national morale center. Not sure if this is, like, incredibly stupid. So that's always encouraging in terms of what I'm doing. So I think that does it for this turn. We do need to spend some more money. So the Americans have 395 points. I think for them, we probably should go with more Special Forces units. Those seem to be good on the offensive. Although maybe more tanks. I don't know. We've got level 5 tanks now. We buy one of them. We also buy heavy tanks. We got level 5 heavy tanks too. Those take a while to come online, though. Kind of wondering if Marines aren't a better option, or maybe actually paratroopers for them. They're cheap, and you can drop them in convenient places to create pockets and stuff like that. So let's actually do a paratrooper unit. And then a Marine unit. So we'll do a paratrooper unit and a Marine unit. Those will come in October. We've also got heavy tanks coming in September, a new fighter unit coming in July, and a new special forces unit coming in July. That spends all of the American money. Can the Indian... we can't raise any Indian troops with our money that's left. The British can't raise anything with their money left. The Soviets have a good amount of money to spend here. So we'll raise some... Looks like we can raise 3 replacement corps. I'm just not sure what the better... The Soviet tanks aren't really worth anything. What about shock armies? Those seem to be pretty decent. So we can do 1 shock army and then maybe 1 corps. Actually, we can do 2 corps. Alright, so 1 shock army, 2 corps. So we have 2 shock armies in the queue as well as 2 corps of infantry for the Soviets. Those should be online, probably not next turn, but the turn after for all of them. Hardy har there, pair O troopers, right? Apparently I didn't leave enough money to get these guys transports, but I can at least give them some reinforcements in Tirana. I'm really thinking my best bet is to have my troops in Europe pull back to North Africa, India, and England. Do I have any more units that I have in Britain? Not right now. I could also look at transporting some of the Central American powers that are fighting on our side. And I need a little bit more R&D. You can see here the U.S. production technology, or that's Britain's production technology. We probably should spend some money there. So production technology is unit cost. Industrial technology is income. So the U.S. got to level 4 production technology. Still only level 2 on industrial technology, which is concerning. But yeah. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Strategic Command World War II, World at War. Episode number 55 is in the books. Heavy fighting on the Philippines still will not lead to the result that I would like. We continue to try and finish off that Japanese carrier, but we just haven't been able to get it yet. And the Eastern Front was disastrous. So hopefully things play out better next time. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.